There isn't anything that you have, there isn't anything that you ever had or ever hoped to have that they're not planning on taking away. They want everything that you have, and they're in the process of taking it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Anthony J Hilder. Hi, Anthony.
Hello, my friend. You know, I was taking a look at a shake of hands, and I thought, everybody else has one. How about one for victory?
One for victory, absolutely. Yeah, great stuff. Yeah.
We have to take an offensive stance because we are being warred upon. But we, the people of England and the United States, are not waging an offensive operation. There's never been any battle that's been fought anywhere over anything that's been won defensively. We have to take the information that we have. It's overwhelming to convict these people for high crimes, treason. The President of the United States and the Prime Minister of England have committed acts of high treason. They should be in jail, certainly not in a position of telling us what to do and surrendering our rights. I don't believe that you had a vote on the surrender of British sovereignty.
No. Even though we were promised a vote. We were promised a vote, but there was no vote.
See, it's like a man's, promising, oh, listen, everything's going to be all right.
Do you know what the worst thing is, though? We were promised a vote, there was no vote. And for most people, they're too busy shopping or watching television, watching mindless game shows or dancing competitions on television to even notice that there ever was an issue to vote on.
Gray, there's one thing I did notice. Right here in England, people were walking along, talking, laughing, joking, drinking a beer and going to the pub. But the newspaper had British sovereignty surrendered. Walking and talking, dead from the neck down. No, dead from the neck up. Zombies. You think, it's got to be the whole body that isn't functioning. And then you say, no, they function all right. They're just not thinking. You've got to put your thinking cap on. You've got to incite a revelation. And that's what you guys are doing in all of the operations that I've seen from the UK column with Brian Garish, Ian Crane, and this Alternative View 3. And now, here in St. Anne's in Blackpool.
The broader view.
The broader view,
yeah,
right. Absolutely.
Now, you've been, you're a journalist, just for, a lot of people in the UK may not have heard of you. Obviously, you're very big in America, but in this country, you're not as big. Your work's not as well known. So you've been a journalist, a filmmaker, and you've been doing this since the 1960s, is that correct?
Yeah.
And you've been getting this message out since around that time?
Well, I produced the Illuminati CFR records in 1967.
That's an amazing time. I wasn't even a glint in the milkman's eye in the 1960s, so it's fantastic to know that someone has been actually doing this work for that long.
Well, when I see a guy as young as my son, as handsome as this guy is, as dramatic as he is, I know that there's a future. But there's not going to be a future for your son, or your daughter, or your grandchildren. They're taxed to death. I'm coming up here and I'm asking the fellow who's been filming me, Matthew Williams, about the gas. 80% tax.
Yeah, the petrol.
This is insanity. It's insane that you accept it. It's insane that you tolerate the intolerable, that you accept the unacceptable. It's nuts. I'm in zombie land out here.
Yeah.
This nation has been filled with the mines with Novocaine. It's a Novocaine nation. They're just looking up, like in 1984, Orwell's. And it's Big Brotherment. They see the cameras all over, the 200 different views of you in the city within the city. What sort of insanity is in this country? What sort of numbness and dumbness? You think it's bad in the United States?
I always think whenever I've been to America, which is several times over the last few years, I always think it's better over there than it is over here. I also think the people are more switched on over there in a lot of cases, even though the media doesn't portray that. The people that I have met myself are much more switched on.
Absolutely, and there's no question that we had a tax rally in the Federal Reserve.
Well, that's the other thing, if I could just jump in about America. When I have been over there, I've seen demonstrations in the streets. I've seen marches. I've heard about, in San Francisco when the war started, everyone went home for the day from work. I've noticed much more active people, and a more of a pleasant environment a lot of the time. I think the portrayal we get of America is often wrong.
Well, America's a train wreck waiting to happen. Unless, of course, we have a revelation, unless we incite a revelation. Same thing here as it is over there.
Oh, it's about to go off the cliff, yeah, obviously.
This massive amount of information, the meeting I went to last night, where we first met with Sir James and company, I'm looking out, these people got the message. But outside the meeting hall, outside the AV3, outside the British Constitution Group, the numbness, the dumbness, the sheeple. I see the sheep along the highway. I went over to the Rothschilds' estate, looking up there. My God, there's this glass pyramid, like you see on the back side of the dollar bill. At the top, there is the Eye of Lucifer. I've heard about the processions of people dressed in black robes, royalty and rock stars.
Is this on the Rothschild estate?
Yes, absolutely. And and I'm thinking, why the hell hasn't some of you guys, like maybe yourself, why haven't you gone down there and got some of those pictures and explained what's going on with the Hellfire Club and this satanic agenda?
So let's just get into this then. If I can ask you, we see their acts. We see 9/11. We see 7/7. We see all these wars raging on across the world. So we know these people are doing some really, really bad things. But the big question is, who are they exactly, and what do they want? Now, some quotes from you are, their dwellings are brimming with Luciferian energy. Okay, that's one thing. The Illuminati are soul-possessed human devils. They're vampire bloodsuckers.
Well, they're vampires in the sense they suck your sustenance away. They print that fiat funny money. They simply manufacture it, lend it back to this government who charges interest on it. And the interest they charge you through the income tax, it's the second plank of the Communist Manifesto. They charge that, and every year, I think September, or not September, but April 5th. It's not April's Fool's Day, but you're a fool if you're going to continue to pay them your money. That tax that was initiated in this nation to pay the wars, pay for the wars. And they have to have an income tax to continue the war. I see the Queen, I see all of the guys, the military guys walking stiff and oh how proud they are to fight and die for the country. What the hell is a military guy fighting and dying for in Afghanistan, if not to support the increase in heroin that leaves their country to go to this country, to go in the arms and screw up the minds of England's youth.
You said something interesting last night which I thought was brilliant, and I mean, we traditionally think of these people wearing this, the poppy. You've probably seen it since you've been over here.
Yeah.
Everybody on TV, especially the BBC, everybody almost has to wear one. Now, so they wear a poppy, and we're told it's because after everyone died on the battlefields of France during the First World War, apparently poppies grew afterwards. Whether they did or not, I don't know. There may be fields of poppies there beforehand.
Yes. Go ahead.
But you said something interesting when I came to see your talk the other day. You were saying that the poppy actually represents opium.
Yes. It's the opium poppy.
Yeah.
And the British forces are being sent out to protect the opium poppy. Oh, they don't want independent trafficking. They want control from the CIA and the CFR. And you think, well, what are these big organizations in the United States who control our political agenda forcing a war in Afghanistan?
Well, if I can just go back a bit, because in this country there are historians who say that the royal family, because supposedly the royal family made their money off tea in China. They were importing tea from China, and that's how they made their money. But a lot of people say it's actually they were importing opium. And this was, years and years ago in the past.
The British, Dutch.
That they made the money. The royal families made their money from the opium trade.
Right.
And that's historically. So, in other words, all the wars really that have come up have really been about control, not just of opium, of other things too. But what you're saying is that
the opium traffic is, and the cocaine in the United States, it isn't done for the money. It's done for the control. You have to, if you're going to control the people, if you're going to enslave the people, you have to control the people. And what the government gives, it must first take away. What it takes away, it must take away with force, a threat of force. They have to threaten you with jail. They have to threaten to beat you, kill you, or incarcerate you, to get you to pay, to squeeze every single drop of blood. They are vampires. They create that fiat funny money, which isn't worth a nickel. Not a single dime, not any silver, not any gold. They've taken the gold, they've taken the silver, they've even taken the copper out of our money in the States. And here I see the taxation, the rules and by rules, and the British people just sat back and slapped in the face, and they didn't feel it. And I'm thinking they slapped again. They didn't feel it. I think they have to get kneed in the nuts. I say they're alive from the neck down, but by God, if you allow this country to go down, if you surrender your sovereignty to the political pimps and prostitutes of this parliament and the prime ministers who promise you everything and give you cocaine or give you opium. The opium poppy, I think it's quite fitting to see the Queen down there. Oh, memorial to our brave men who fought and died. They are not dying and fighting for you. They're dying and fighting to retain the power of the throne of these guys who say, let us surrender the sovereignty. Let us join a European Union. A European Union is nothing other than what Hitler envisioned in his book, The World Order. Think of all of these men who fought and died thinking that they were trying to save the sovereignty and freedom of you and your children. Now, Cameron, Brown, Blair, Heath, all with promises of peace, prosperity. Oh, and this is going to be wonderful for you. They don't give you a vote. They just say, bend over, pull down your pants.
Well, let's just go back to these people in terms of who they are. Now, you're saying that they're Satanists, then? Is that correct?
I'm saying it's a
Luciferian.
I'm saying it's a Luciferian thing. They believe in the Lord Lucifer. You go down here, out there near, is it, well, I'm trying to think of the name of the town. Doozy? Well, right around there.
Where's it? So I don't recognize
It's south of Blackpool. But there is a nice rolling hill, a fence, beautiful trees, and lots of sheep. And I'm looking out there, and it's very pleasant, and I see this.
You're in Bristol? With Bristol?
No, still south of Bristol.
Jersey?
No, that's the island.
That's an island, yeah.
But
yeah, this is a different town then, yeah.
But it's down there. You can find it. You might want to pay them a visit.
This is the Rothschilds estate you're talking about?
Rothschilds estate.
Okay, yeah, we'd have to look where that was.
I don't know. I hear they open up their home, 2 or 3 or 4 times a year. Maybe if you just went over, knocked on the door, maybe Lord Rothschild would come out. If he's busy during the day, maybe in the evening hours, 11, 12 at night. I don't know. Maybe he's got some free time then. Maybe he'd like to talk to you about the pyramid and the Illuminati eye. And of course, I don't know whether there's really any guys in black robes going out there for services in the middle of the night. See, the Illuminati has a different god. They have their symbols all around. Go into the city of London.
I thought it was interesting what you said about Uncle Sam saying, you know, Uncle Sam, your country needs you, this kind of thing. And that was also, you said it was very similar to Baphomet, the goat god.
No, it's not similar. It's the same.
It's the same.
It's the same. You take the goat of Baphomet, which is the satanic goat. The hairs at the bottom of the chin of the goat of Baphomet match up with the hairs of Uncle Sam. When you see Uncle Sam, I want you to serve the army, that's what they profess to say. I want you to serve Satan. You take the goat of Baphomet, and some of the computer nerds here are going to say, whoa, let's try this. Let's do this one. Yeah, let's work on that, and let's put the goat of Baphomet right over Uncle Sam, and he becomes Satan. It is a satanic goat. They are trying to get the military people, the sheeple, the guys who don't think, they just obey. See, when you go in the military, you no longer think for yourself. Your life isn't yours, it's theirs. There is a military, and if what we call our military did in fact become our military, if you said, no longer will I serve Satan, and you started serving this country, but this country's lacking one thing. It's lacking a constitution. I was here 3 days, and I'm out there at the in London, this beautiful auditorium right across from Euston Station. And I said, how many of you have read the Constitution? A few people over here, a few people over there. I don't think they got it. I stood on top of some chairs. I said, how many of you have actually read the Constitution? The rest of the people are sort of looking up dumbfounded. There is no Constitution. You guys don't have a Constitution. The politicians that you elect, and I'm talking about these political pimps and prostitutes who are working for the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and some of that funny money. They don't protect your rights. They do what they are told. And like most prostitutes, they will spread them for the money. They will do.
It's not about that. It's not about money at the top levels, though.
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Some of those. How can some of those people, some of your guys, go out there and sell you out?